G'day Marvel Future Fight Gamers, VaderG here, welcome back to the channel. Well, I've just had a pretty bad session. I've done this whole recording with no microphone input working, so I've got 30 minutes of footage here, which I'm now dubbing over post taking the video. So a 30-minute video is now taking 60 minutes because I'm going to be talking over the top of it. Got a little bit of a delay here with the APK file, probably about 3 or 4 hours behind other star agents, so I apologize if you've already seen content on other people's channels. I also apologize if I do a really shit job doing the dubbing over my existing video. Alright guys, here we've got some new characters. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at Mr. Sinister, Professor X Tier 3, and Raven, of course, who we've all been really looking forward to, eh? They're pretty cool looking characters. We've got Mr. Sinister with his, and he looks sinister, right? I mean, that appearance, he looks badass. He looks like a true villain, which I'm digging it. I love it. I love the villains in this game. You guys all know that. He looks unreal. He looks really cool and really badass. Okay, Mystique is also, she's also a villain. So we're going to look through her skill effects in a minute. But I'm telling you, she looks pretty badass from what I've seen on skill effects. We've got Magneto here, so he's still a supervillain as well in his white Stormtrooper outfit, which I kind of like. I like the look of it. It looks pretty cool. Other characters that we've got new uniforms. Wolverine at long last. Hopefully it makes him reasonably useful. Pretty cool looking uniform. The old standard as well. The old standard uniform. Magneto we've already had a bit of a look at here with his white outfit. Professor X is not a uniform. He's a brand new character. He looks pretty cool though. Bit of a big melon on him. Bit of a big head. But that's all right. Hey, if you've got the power, then you pull it off. That's no problem at all. Mystique for me, this is the character I've been really looking forward to, and she looks really cool. Look at the detail on her. There's skulls on her belt. She's actually on her little head circle thing, whatever that's called. I don't really know what that's called. Headband. It's got a little skull on that as well. And with Mystique, where we get her from, we actually have to buy Mystique. So she's Crystal Wall. She's showing up as Crystal Wall, similar to Emma Frost, similar to Sabretooth, and you know, to be perfectly honest, she is probably the reason why we got that Mega Tier 2 ticket from the event, whenever that was, when that finished, like a week ago or something like that. So she's the reason why, and that's probably who you should be using on, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, we've got Professor Xavier. He's from Professor X's special training in the Danger Room. Okay, so he's like a Danger Room character. Looks like you might be able to acquire him through Danger Room, or maybe pay for him, similar to Negasonic and similar to Rachel Summers. Let's have a look at Mr. Sinister and see where we get him from. And okay, he's an X-Gene character, which is kind of predictable. He does look like a pretty good character, and we'll get to his skills in a minute. So we've got, what have we got? We've got Professor Xavier from Danger Room. We've got Raven, Crystal Wall. Use your save up 1250 crystals, get your Mega Tier 2 out, and we've got Mr. Sinister as an X-Gene character. So mixed feelings about that, but it is what it is. And what I can say is, from what I've looked at from these characters so far, just from a skill description point of view, they're probably worth it, right? They're pretty damn good. So really nice additions to the game visually, and we'll definitely have a bit of a look at them tomorrow in Alliance Battle and see how they perform as well in the actual game. One of the things I did want to have a bit of a look at while we were actually here was the CTP Chest. However, I've just stupidly clicked on the card chest, and I know because I've already done this video that this is just going to time out. It's crashed the game, alright, because we clicked on the card chest instead of the CTP chest, which was pretty dumb on my part. But I'm going to restart the game here in a minute. While it's restarting, we'll have a pretty cool look at the loading screen, and we'll also have a bit of a chat about these CTPs. So the CTP, which we will have a look at in a minute, the CTP Dimension chest, the you know, basically the loot boxes, which we've been complaining about for, I don't know, ever since they were released, effectively. Ever since the CTP of Energy, Refinement, Transcendence, and those sort of early crowd of CTPs came along, we've been saying, holy shit, there's way too much gambling, it's costing us too much money. I personally would love to know how much I've spent. Actually, I'm going to withdraw that statement. I would hate to know how much I've spent gambling for CTPs over the years, but I can tell you it's a lot more than what it averages out at 6, 7, 50 crystals. That's what it's meant to be from an odds point of view. It's going to be a lot more than that. Just looking at this loading screen, how cool does Magneto look? He looks epic, just standing there with his arms folded, saying, "Yep, come and get me, I'm OP." He knows he's a mega level. We've got Jean there in a green outfit. She looks pretty damn good as well. All right, so let's forget that mistake that I just made there and head on to the CTP Chess. And it looks, yep, so we can see down the bottom here that we've got a pity timer. At long last, we've got a pity timer. So there's going to be some guys who left the game over the last couple of years have been going. They might even think about coming back, because there's plenty of people that have just left the game because of these bullshit CTP drop rates. So let's have a go at this and see how we go. Okay, so we can see the timer down there on the bottom right hand corner. So it's up to 2 already. Okay, so we're up to 3, and I'm kind of wishing that we're not going to get any CTPs of greed drop here. Up to 4. So we're going to see what the effect is, and just see what it looks like. Well, hang on. So we've got a CTP of greed, and what we've actually seen here is we've seen the counter reset back to 0. And you know what, that's fair enough. So if you're going for an intended CTP, it's not like you should just get it and then get another 4 pulls and get it again. This is exactly how it should be. Hold on, we've got 2 CTPs back to back. So while I'm trying to actually build the meter up, then I'm failing because I'm pulling CTPs. And when I'm... But that's not a bad thing, right? So this is very cool. So we're up to 3 again. Going to see how we go. And we've got another one, bingo. So what do we got? I think we've done about 6 pulls, and we've got 3 to CTPs of greed already. I don't even have one in my own account. So it just goes to show, oh, here we go again. That's insane. So probably got 4 CTPs of greed from, I don't know, less than 10 pulls. And we've got CTP of refinement, and the meter has not reset with that CTP, CTP of refinement. It's about 100 times better, CTP of insight. The meter has not reset, and that's how it should be, to be perfectly honest. We weren't going for a CTP of insight. We weren't going for a CTP of, say, refinement. So let's just say we had to go CTP of refinement then. It would have been a freaking nightmare if the meter had to reset with that piece of crap. But no, it doesn't reset. It just keeps on powering ahead. And so we're up to 5 here at the moment. And we're going to see if we can make it to 10. CTP of energy. So cool. It doesn't reset the meter. I'll tell you what, this is a pretty lucky run of CTP pulls though. Okay, here we go. Okay, 3 to go. So it's so weird. I've never wished so much in my life not to pull a CTP. Alright, 10th pull. Okay, so it's guaranteed on the next purchase, right? So this one, we should get a CTP of greed. There it is. But we got 2, so we got a double whammy. And so that is probably one of the most luckiest CTP pulling sessions I've ever had. So wouldn't it be nice if not only was the drop rate there, but the actual, the guaranteed pity timer was there, but also the drop rate was a little bit better than what it has been historically. Very cool Netmarble. I've got to be honest, we've been asking for it for years, so I'm not going to say it's something you guys have thought of. It's been around for a long time, but you know what? It's really good that it's in the game. Really, really good. So let's have a look at the skills here of Mr. Sinister. So for Tier 2 passive, increase 15% increase of all attacks, and then we've got the generic summon character buff. Also got skill damage by 35%, increased bonus damage by 30%. First skill. So first skill, straight away, bang, we've got a summon on it. Second skill, copy the targets to summon an illusion whose stats are 100% of the caster's stats. Summon a basic illusion if copying the target is not possible. Okay, so he's going to copy what he sees in front of him. Not really sure it's going to be a frost beast, but let's see how that goes. Okay, third skill, massive buff. Increase all attacks by 70% for each surviving summoned character. up to 3 characters. So that can be up to 210%. Wow. Recovers HP by 7% every 1 second. Increase the recovery amount by 50% per surviving summon character. That's really good as well. Recovery amount cannot exceed 30%. Okay. 4th skill, we got an invincibility. So nice survivability there on the 5th. On the 4th skill. On the 5th skill, we've got decrease all defenses. Stacks up to 55%. Ignores immunity. So very nicely rounded character. His passive applies when HP is below 50%, applies itself, 100% recovery of max HP. Man, this guy's got it all. He's got everything in his kit. That's pretty good. So it's nearly like a revive. The cooldown time at 140 seconds is a bit extensive. And his leadership, actually his self-leadership is really good. All attacks by 35, all defense by 35, all speeds by 10. So that's pretty similar to Deadpool, right? It's going to be in that same sort of vicinity as Deadpool's self-leadership. Got to be honest, a pretty awesome looking character visually, but also his skills. Why is the potential not realized is beyond me. I have no idea why we're getting characters to try out and they're not, that we have to basically play for their potential. But maybe there is a reason for that. Okay, let's have a look at Mystique. This is one I've been waiting for. Okay, so she's got a 6th skill, right? So she's got an Awaken skill. It looks very similar in stats to Doc Ock's skill. All huge buffs, massive crits, massive ignore dodge. Her passive, look at her tier 2 passive. Increases damage dealt to superhero type characters by 45. Increases damage dealt to super villain type characters by 40%. Wow. Holy smokes. That is frickin' OP. That is insanely good. Passive. Her 1st skill, bang, straight away. Remove elasticity. 2nd skill, we had a silence on there, I think. 3rd skill, massive buffs on it. We got damage accumulation. Damage accumulation based on damage dealt as well, not on damage received. 1.5% increase of all attacks up to... for each 1% of accumulated damage proportional to the max accumulated damage, which cannot pass 10,000. Okay, it's a mouthful, but damage accumulation based on attack is always very nice, always very, very welcome. So let's see how we're going here with her. Where are we up to? Sorry, her 4th skill. 40% bleed damage, got a stun, incapacitation, 4% decrease of all defenses, up to 50%. Big numbers, man, big numbers. Applies to self, ignore armor, super armor, all defenses, increase all attacks by 45, all speed by 1, and crit rate by 45, and removes incapacitation as well. And her 5th skill, man, these buffs just keep on going. 40% bleed damage every 1 second, removes elasticity, got a stun. On the enemy, we've got a decrease of all defenses up to 60%. That's a big number. We're talking big numbers here, guys. Applies to self, invincible for 6 seconds. We got a massive attack buff of 40%, all defense by 40%, all speed by 1%. All right, I'm calling it even just based off these numbers without seeing anything else that she is going to smash speed villain. Wow, her passive as well, increases guaranteed dodge rate by 25, increases guaranteed crit by 25. Not ideal for a CTP of Rage, but still pretty damn good. And leadership, what do we got here? Surely she can't have good leadership as well. That we can't have that. That would be extreme if she has. And man, she's totally OP. Look at that. Applies to all allies, increases all speeds by 6%. Applies to self, 45%. Increase of all attacks. Wow. Certainly one of the most powerful characters on paper that I've ever seen. With those massive self buffs. And that passive is immense. Applies to villains and heroes alike. That is absolutely insane. I was just flicking through these skills, looking at all these buffs, and drooling to try her out in Alliance Battle, which we will do tomorrow. We'll do it on free-for-all day. We can't do it today anyway, right? Because it's Blast Villain Day. So we'll try her out tomorrow. But, man, if she's not OP, then I don't know. I might have to quit this game. I'm totally misreading everything if she's not as OP as what she looks there. So what we're going to do now is have a look at Professor X's skills and see how he's going in regards to his actual skills there. Sorry guys, getting a little bit. And one thing I was really interested in was his leadership, and I have to admit, based on this skill description, 20% increase of all attacks to mutant allies, it's pretty crap. It's nowhere near as good as what I thought it would be. To keep in mind, Magneto's 45%, and he has mind resist of 50%, and you'll see through his skills he's got a really big theme on mind resist. Okay, so his tier 3 passive, his tier 3 skill, not his tier 3 passive, really getting tight here, guys. Decreases Mind Blast and Mind Resist by 30%, ignores immunity, minus 10% decrease of Mind Resistance, stacks up to 40%, ignores immunity, applies to self, heaps of self buffs, right? So it's kind of like a standard tier 3 skill, 10 seconds invincible, penetration, increases damage by 20% for one attack, that's pretty meh. Not really I wonder if that's a typo. That seems a little bit weak. Tier 2 skill increases mind damage by 20%, increased skill damage by 20%, increased bonus damage by 5. His first skill, okay, so straight away we're getting into these the resist reductions. So basically removing any resistance that the enemy has to mind blast and mind resist on these first 2 skills here. Setting him up to do some pretty significant damage, I believe. Third skill applies to enemies incapacitation, so removes active buff, decreases mind and blast resist again. So there's 3 skills in a row that has that. Applies to self, so we got guard hits there. We got increase all attacks by 20, all defense by 20, all speeds by 1, and then we got straight mind damage as well. You can see all his skills except for his 5th skill have mind damage. 4th skill applies to enemies incapacitation, decreases mind blast and mind resist by 5%. 5% decrease of mind resistance stacks up to 35%. It just goes on and on. These resistance reductions, where he's just building and building as he's stacking his skills. Okay, his 5th skill. Wow, what a list, man! It's like a Jean Grey 5th skill. Applies to enemies fear. We got remove active buff from target. We got silence. We got a mind control. Decreases mind and blast resist again. Ignores immunity. Applies to self. We got a recovery of 10%. We got an invincible of 5. We got accumulation based on damage dealt, which is very cool. 1% increase of all attacks for 1% of accumulated damage. And then we've got a straight mind damage as well. We can move using the V-pad while using a skill. So we actually did see this on the live stream where we saw him being able to be moved around over the actual mobs, which is pretty cool as well. So interesting to see how he pans out and where he actually fits in the scheme of things and into the meta. It'd be interesting to see where he's at. And here we go. We've got a really powerful 3-set ISO on him, which is I just don't know why they can't come with Power of Angry Hulk or whatever attack set already pre-prepared. All right, guys. I'm just going to take a real quick break here because I need a drink. All right, guys. Back in action. Voices happening again. I've just been doing this for 45 minutes now, and it's past midnight here. Okay, so let's have a look at Sentinel. Level 66, don't know why, he's a weird looking unit. Oh, look at this, potential enhanced ticket. Okay, that's interesting. So I've got none in inventory, but it's interesting that actually exists. That's new, potential enhanced ticket. So we can enhance it the normal way, and I'm guessing these tickets, they must shortcut the use of all these materials. I wonder if we can get it where it actually, the potential enhanced ticket actually bypasses the whole potential scenario altogether. So brand new thing in the game, potential enhanced ticket. Very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And maybe that's why they've left him and Mr. Sinister actually at no potential at all. So I was thinking I'm probably going to have to run Mr. Sinister through a bunch of world boss, which I will do tomorrow, and hope that he gets his potential. But yeah, maybe not. Maybe he's just going to maybe I can use a ticket if I've got a ticket. Anyway, we'll have a look at that tomorrow. All right, guys. So here we are. We've got Sentinel Nimrod the Lesser, and let's have a look at his uniform effect here. It is an unusual looking uniform. I mean, I haven't read these comics, but it looks odd. He's certainly a big unit, so we can actually use an upgrade ticket here and actually have a look at his uniform options. Bit of dry throat happening here. From too much talking. Sorry, guys. No COVID-19 here either. Actually got some pretty decent uniform options there. Okay, so Captain America Team Suit, first uni. Got Sharon Rogers in a Dark Star armor for a second. Let's have a look at the third. We've got Hyperion in his classic uniform as a third. We've got Marvel Avengers Ant-Man Endgame and Deadpool X-Force. So they're the uniform options for lesser Nimrod with his Sentinel uniform. So let's see, uniform effect, 10% increase of all attacks, immunity to Mind Blast effect. Well, that's interesting, right? Because the only Mind Blast effect that I know of is Professor X. So he might be a direct counter for Professor X in certain, maybe AC, maybe in timeline battle, in some of these PvP type modes. Not really sure what I'm doing here when I'm... Oh, okay, I'm trying to get to the skills. Alright, so let's have a look at his passive, his tier 2 passive. So 20% increase in all attacks and defenses of summon characters. 20% increase to HP and 20%. So the basic summon stuff, right? Okay, so his first skill, bang, straight out of the gate, we've got penetration, 100% penetration as well. Applies to self, 100% chance to penetrate. Applies for 1 second. What does that mean? I don't really know. Okay, second skill, got a big buff, attack buff. Third skill, more buffs, 100% chance for immunity to all damage, increases all attack based on damage taken, so accumulation based on damage taken. His fourth skill, wow, more buffs again, man. He's looking pretty powerful with this uniform. Increase applies to enemies, decrease all attacks by 25% and decreases their defense. Stacks up to 75% decrease of all defense. I mean, that's pretty bloody epic as well. That's a high number, right? His fifth skill, 35% chance to penetrate with super armor. Barrier shield and all damage immune. Summon an illusion with 100% of the summoner's stats, which we know about. And energy damage 200%. And his leadership, we see here, removes all debuffs, so nothing's changed there. Looks pretty good. Pretty keen. I'll be pretty keen to try him out in Alliance Battle as well. I suspect he's more of a PvP character, but some of these skills certainly lend themselves to, maybe dishing out a fair bit of damage as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he actually goes. All right, let's have a look at Mags in his white uniform, his House of X uniform, Stormtrooper, and let's have a quick look at this uniform effect and see what it actually does. Alright, so we've got, what do we got? Okay, increases chain hit damage by 20%. Okay, 20% chain hit damage is pretty epic. I can't remember what his uniform effect was in his old uniform. Oh, that's right, it was the 45% damage dealt by, increases damage to machine types by 45%, which was kind of useless, to be perfectly honest. Not bad against, against Giant Boss Raid, but who really uses him these days for Giant Boss Raid? Okay, let's have a look at his new skills. His passive. Let's have a look at his second skill here. So he's got decrease all defenses on his second skill. We got paralysis, ignores immunity on his third skill. And we've got 5 skills changed here. His fifth skill, he's got invincible, which is new, right? His fifth skill, okay, and this is brand new. Okay. So we've got an accumulation based on damage dealt again. So we've got quite a few characters in this update with damage accumulation based on damage dealt. We saw Nimrod with damage received, but the others we've seen are damage dealt, which is a very, very powerful trait to have, very, very powerful skill effect to have on any character. So I'm going to say, well, number one, I'm going to say that his uniform looks a shitload better than this black one. He probably looks a little bit more evil in this black one, which probably goes to show, I believe, in House of X, not that I'm an expert on comics, but from what I've been told by a few guys, that he was actually probably more of a hero in the House of X. But I do look, even though I do like the look of this uniform, the white uniform. Whether it's the Stormtrooper thing in my brain, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I reckon he looks pretty cool. He just looks cooler. He looks like a more professional, nearly. But yeah, that damage accumulation, that's brand new. I'm gonna wonder if he's gonna throw him back in the mix in any of the Alliance battle modes or any of the larger modes. Lots of us have him at tier 3 already with Wake and ISOs and the rest of it. Be nice to have him more useful than what he is now, because currently with his black uniform, not super useful in any game mode at the moment, to be perfectly honest. So let's hope. Let's hope. Alright, really keen to have a look at this uniform for Wolverine. Was really disappointed, to be perfectly honest, with his last uniform, with that shitty counter attack on his third skill. So let's have a quick look at his uniform effect here, and really, probably more importantly to me, have they got rid of the counter attack off that third skill? Okay, so what do we got? Uniform bonus, 15% increase of all attacks, 10% ignore defense. I'm pretty sure the all attack thing is new, so 15% increase of all attacks, which is a nice start, right? Decrease all damage received by 15% as well, which I'm pretty sure was on his old uni. Let's have a quick look at that and just double check. I'm pretty sure that the 15% increase of attack is brand new. It is. Okay, so the decrease all damage received was there 15%, but the attack wasn't before. Okay, so already great start. Really cool start to actually have more attack, because I believe he's been reasonably weak. Let's have a look at his third skill. Yes, bang, perfect, no freaking counter attack on it. Thank God for that. That skill was garbage. First, okay, let's have a quick look here. So his tier 3 skill looks unchanged. His passive looks unchanged to me as well. Massive self buffs with the crits. His first skill, we've got a stun. Second skill, straight attack. Third skill, we've got invincible, which I'm pretty sure wasn't there before as well, which is good. He needs survivability. Fourth skill, he's got ignore dodge. He's got penetration. 75% chance to penetrate. Fifth skill, bleed damage, removes elasticity, which is nice, and we've got increases all attack by 15, all speed, and crit rate by 15 as well, and removes incapacitation. So very nice there. Nice effects on those skills as well, with remove incapacitation, remove elasticity as well. Very nice looking kit for Wolverine. Be very interested to try him out in Alliance Battle Extreme as well, by the way. He looks, even just a uniform bonus of 15%, that's going to stack up pretty quick. But then with these self buffs, with the additional, not that he needs survivability for Alliance Battle, but you know, the additional survivability from his third skill as well, and getting rid of that ridiculous counter attack has got to be a good thing, right? Can't be a bad thing. And I like the look of the uniform. He looks a bit more feral, which is exactly how he should look, right? Okay, Jean Grey, let's have a look. Last but not least, and we've got a bit of a frozen screen here because probably the computer is saying, holy shit, you're doing a massive recording of 30 odd minutes. I'm not putting up with this crap anymore. But too bad, computer, because we're going to power on whether you're with us or against us. Okay, Jean Grey, now universal, which in itself is pretty epic, right? She probably should be universal. She should have been universal the whole time. So powerful. And having the Phoenix Force, kind of outer-worldly as well. Okay, uniform bonus, 20% increase of all attacks. I think her old one was 15. Yeah. So 5% extra increase straight off the bat of all attack with this uniform, in addition to being universal type. We've got 6 skills changed, so that's some pretty big changes here for Jean as well. Look at that passive. I mean, she's so powerful. She's so damn powerful. Okay, increase all resistance by 50%, increase skill damage by 50, increase bonus damage by 50. These are massive numbers. Decrease all damage received by 30%. Say no more. She is so damn good. First skill, bang, straight away. We've got decreases in mind resist, stacks up to 50%, ignores immunity. And it's a mind damage skill, even though the applies damage deals 45% burn damage. It looks like a mind damage skill. Interesting. Going to be very interesting to see how she goes up against Captain Marvel. Okay, second skill, decrease all speeds by 25%. Time freeze, doesn't look too much different to her last skill. Third skill is just a buff fest, a self buff fest. Applies to enemies, decrease mind resistance, stacks up to 100%, ignores immunity, man. Applies to self, guards against 8 hits, accumulate 120% of true damage regardless. I mean, it's just so... The true damage total cannot exceed 65% of HP. Wow, it's impressive stuff. Recovers 6% HP every 1 second. Her third skill's always been Mentor, right? Recovery amount increased 4% per 1% total damage received. It's just crazy how good she is. 4th skill, a bunch of effects applied to the enemy. And her 5th skill, once again, it's just huge buffs, right? 18% decrease of all defenses to the enemy, decrease all speeds by 25, 4-second stun, applies to self 80% chance to penetrate, increase all attacks by 45, all speed by 10, crit rate by 45, removes incapacitation. Ooh, it's just so much power. Such a powerful freaking unit. Definitely going to be wanting to try her out up against all of that. We got Power of Angry Hulk already rolled. Nice. We'll be getting rid of the CTP of Destruction, can tell you that. See if we can bang on a CTP of Rage. Hang on, we haven't got any in inventory here. We got a shitload of greed though after our earlier session. Scroll through. They normally put a CTP of Rage on Captain Marvel. Have we got CTP of Rage somewhere? Please, please. Oh, no Luna either. Where is one? Okay, alright. Alright, we've got a couple here that we can swap around, which is very cool. So yeah, definitely going to be giving her a bit of a test against Captain Marvel. As best as I can, another CTP of Rage on Strange there. So yeah, that's what I'll try and do tomorrow. If I can wake up after this ridiculously late night doing this double voice recording scenario. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed the video. We'll have a bit of a look at this squad battle tomorrow as well. It looks like it's going to be a pretty cool mode, to be perfectly honest. As long as the rewards are proportional to the amount of time that you spend on it, I'm all for new game modes. See if we can run through Mr. Sinister here on just on a real quick level, just see if we can get that potential up and see how we go. But guys, really appreciate your time. I know it's been a long video. Hopefully it's answered a few of your questions that you may have had about where to get these characters, their skill effects, and the rest of it. Don't feel like you have to watch everything all the time. If you want to skim through the video here and there, then go for that as well. And we've got a full inventory, probably from all of those freaking gear chests that we bought. Yep. And so that'll pull us up, guys. Well, I'm going to quickly upload this video, and I'm going to grab some sleep. Hope everyone's well out there. Stay safe, stay hygienic, and take care of yourselves and your families. Alright guys, thanks, bye.